We go now to an update on a case we have covered extensively here at Crime Watch Daily. Curtis Lovelace is facing murder charges after the death of his wife. Now, the first trial ended in a hung jury.
And Matt, I've retried many cases many times, and it might be surprising to know that actually the second time around is sometimes easier. Now you know the strengths and the weaknesses of your case, and as a prosecutor, you get to hear the defense case. But really, it's all a crapshoot. It all comes down to what those 12 jurors want to decide about your case.
So many variables. Well, Reed Grinsell has the new details on Lovelace's new day in court.
I don't see any other possible outcome other than Kurt is free. He's exonerated and he comes home.
Christine Lovelace is standing by her husband, desperately hoping for good news from the Illinois jail where Curtis Lovelace has been behind bars for 18 months, charged with the murder of his first wife.
I say prayers all the time. I pray hard.
But prayers weren't enough for a bail reduction, again denied. And now it seems Curtis's best chance to finally see the light of day is a new trial set to begin in late July.
But in the meantime, he has to remain in jail.
Curtis Lovelace is Quincy, Illinois' famous son and accused Valentine's Day killer. The former assistant state's attorney was arrested for allegedly suffocating his wife, Corey, more than 8 years after he said he found her dead in the couple's own bed.
It's unfair. He didn't kill his wife. Nobody killed her. There was no murder.
But a dogged investigator turned the Lovelace case into a sensation and a murder investigation.
There's a new detective. He opens a homicide investigation with Curtis Lovelace in his sights as a target.
Despite all the experts who told the detective it was a natural death caused by Corey's excessive alcohol consumption, Curtis soon faced murder charges and couldn't post the $5 million bail.
You got 3 pathologists, medical doctors, telling him that there are problems with the theory that this was a homicide by suffocation.
His first trial ended in a hung jury. Now the nonprofit Investigating Innocence is helping to defend him with a new attorney in a retrial starting later this year.
We filed the charges pursuant to a grand jury indictment, and so we're going to go to trial.
Will Curtis testify in his own defense this time around? And will the case focus again on the unusual positioning of Corey's arms? A critical detail that forensics experts argued points to the time of death.
The prosecution's case showed signs that she could not have died that morning. Her arms were in rigor mortis, so to speak, hovering over her body in unnatural positions.
It will be the same judge, but maybe not the same place.
But there's no changing the evidence. Each side focused on what they believe caused Corey's death.
No crime was committed. Miss Lovelace died as a result of, complications from her liver disease.
Corey said she had been fighting flu-like symptoms, her defenses worn down by bouts of alcoholism and reportedly bulimia.
She was in the grips of an addiction. She did not look well at all. She was drinking heavily.
Still, Corey's death was ruled undetermined. She was only 38 years old. There was no life insurance and no evidence Curtis was having an affair, and despite an unhappy marriage, no clear motive for murder. Curtis has been married twice since his wife passed away. The second marriage didn't last. Curtis then married a former schoolmate, Christine Brewster.
If it could happen to Kurt, it could happen to anybody. He's brokenhearted and devastated.
Curtis hoped a bail reduction would set him free, at least temporarily, to be with his new wife and teenaged boys. But Curtis and his family can only put their lives on hold. They fear if he's convicted this time around, he could remain locked up for a very long time.
If he were to be found guilty, he would be in prison from anywhere 20 to 60 years. My husband would never come home. I would never see my husband come through the front door.
Lonnie, take me inside the courtroom. You're working for the prosecution. Where do you start?
So the prosecution is hanging their case on the timeline. They're saying that they have an expert who says that because the victim was found with her arms frozen up like this, she had rigor mortis, which means she had to have died a lot longer before than when the husband, said it actually happened. They're going to say that the expert and the scientific evidence is the key to this case.
And then you're moving across and looking at the other side here, the defence. Where do they move?
This case is a fascinating case. For 8 years, nobody even said this was a murder. They said it was an accidental, natural death. 8 years later, they come up with this expert who says he's lying. And now, because of one expert, which, by the way, the defense counters with their own experts saying just the opposite, they're saying this guy should go away to prison for life.
Well, we'll find out shortly, and we will, of course, follow this case very closely. As it progresses, we'll bring you the very latest right here on the show and on our website, crimewatchdaily.com.